We have dozens of receivers to talk about on this show because they just finished their on-field work at the NFL Combine. And I think that this might be the most fun position group to talk about every single year because they technically have the same WR label to them. But there might be, 50 to 60 pound differences between some of the names we're about to discuss. I mean, Brennan Thompson is 5'9", 164. Hayden, technically he's a receiver, along with Jeff Caldwell, who's 6'5", 216 pounds, yet they are totally different humans.
I hear you because I'm building out a graphic. Moshe, producer Weave's helped me fill it out. And I have 2 wide receiver spots for the all-combine team. And I'm trying to decide between Jeff Caldwell, who's 216 pounds, Bryce Lance, who will get you 204 pounds, or Brendan Thompson, who ran a 4.26 speed. How do you factor all that in? I like the big boys out there. They actually get the snaps. So I'm leaning that way, but you guys let me know in the comments if Brendan Thompson deserves an all-combine shout.
He's trying to get in the mind of the people. So let Hayden know which one is more impressive. A big body dude moving really fast or Brendan Thompson moving at a speed of light at 100 pounds less. All right, let's get through this because this class might not have a true headliner at the top. And a lot of the round 1 wide receivers is where we're going to start did not participate. Like David Boston out of Washington did not run. Casey Concepcion out of Texas A&M did not run. Mekhi Lemon out of USC did not run. Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State did not run. The only one that did, Carnell Tate in Ohio State, 6'2", 192 pounds, and he posts a 4.5, 4.40.
Yeah, maybe Carnell Tate should have decided not to run himself. This was a little bit slower than I was expecting. I thought 4.4s was going to be a better time for him. On tape, a lot of his damage is like as a really good route runner, and then also at the catch point, he's got the size that we're looking for. So he's got a nice, well-rounded game. My comp for him before the combine was George Pickens, and those guys almost have identical height, weight, and now speed. Pickens a little bit bigger, a little bit faster than Carnell Tate is. We'll see if he runs at his pro day to try to get at that 4.4 number on it. I think that breaking ties inside the top 10, I think it's fair to move him down a couple spots. Maybe some teams do that, but that might push him right towards the Chiefs at 9. 4.53 is not so bad of a time that you really have to ding him here. But obviously at the margins, you would rather be a 4.4 flat guy. Turns out he's closer to 4.5.
Not at all. I mean, CeeDee Lamb ran a 4.5, T. Higgins a 4.59, Keenan Allen 4.58, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams 4.56, DeAndre Hopkins 4.57. Now, those are all receivers that play the game very differently from each other and you can line up inside and outside and all this type of stuff. We'll have an entire profile of Carnell Tate and all of these wide receivers on the channel at some point. So if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. I did want to bring up another guy that might now be a round 1 prospect who 2 weeks ago, I didn't see like really any love for, despite him playing with Fernando Mendoza and the national championship Indiana Hoosiers. Let's talk about Omar Cooper at 6 foot, 199 pounds, did post a 4.42 40. Hayden, what I loved when I went back and watched him after his name kind of was brought up a bit more at the start of last week is just his Gumby-like ability to break tackles, to absorb contact, and to win after the catch. I mean, he has like rubber limbs at times, how he kind of goes limp and avoids one and then another and then another. And then you also saw some like press coverage wins versus Iowa with inside releases. And he has like real speed that when he's even, he's leaving on top of it. So I like a lot of what I watched about Omar Cooper prior to tonight.
Yeah, the 4.4 speed, I think caught me by surprise a little bit. I'm not sure if I saw that level of speed, but that comps out obviously very well to him. One of the height, weight, speed guys in the comp profile is Emeka Egbuka, who went early round 1 or mid round 1, and then Robert Woods, who's now the Rams wide receiver coach, is a true legend, kind of inside-outside hybrid. I think that's how Omar Cooper is going to be, where I think probably most of his snaps are going to be inside the slot, but like we've seen with Emeka, in a pinch can play outside. A lot more physicality than his actual size would indicate. He's not Deebo Samuel to me. I think he is closer to the Robert Woods Emeka tier, and that's totally fine. Not everybody has to be Deebo Samuel, especially if you're going to be picking him somewhere around, let's say, like the Bills pick or late in round 1.
I just wish as a football community, we would ban the Deebo Samuel comparison.
Yes.
You know, anyone who wins after catching a pass underneath and breaks a tackle and runs fast afterwards gets compared to Deebo Samuel, and no one really plays the position like Deebo Samuel. So I kind of refuse that. I mean, remember a couple of years ago, another name I'll bring up.
Boy.
Malachi Corley was brought up as a Debo Samuel comparison. I will say I like Omar Cooper way more than I did Malachi Corley. Corley could not run a route to save his life, and I think Omar Cooper definitely can. So he's a really, really intriguing player.
Yeah, he's going to go round 1, early round 2 at the very latest at this point.
I think another person in that range too is Casey Concepcion out of Texas A&M, 5'11 and a half, 196 pounds. Again, no athletic testing from him. I saw a lot of runway routes from him, deep overs, goes, screens, ton of slot and kind of stacked releases. They gave him that, empty space in order for him to pick up speed and build up speed immediately. He had a horrible drop rate this year. I thought it was a lot of concentration issues, but again, in a class that might be lacking 32 first-round picks, someone with like a Brandon Cooks maybe like skill set as a real vertical burner, I think would really, really intrigue teams because we know even these types are difficult to find in free agency.
Yeah, Concepcion opting out of the testing obviously is a minor red flag here, but the fact that he weighs 196 pounds, I do think kind of prevents him from getting, Jaden Reeded, where he's only going to be a slot wide receiver. He passes now the height and weight thresholds to be on the field in 2 wide receiver sets. So I think that alone was a win for him. And then in the drills, he caught everything, like gauntlet drill, running down the field. And Concepcion, he's very self-aware that he knows that he has to clean up the drops. I thought he was maybe the best route runner in the class that I've seen so far. And the fact that he's 196 pounds, and I thought he was running away from guys. Go watch the LSU punt returns, for example. I think just the fact that he checked 196, I would put him in the winners category, even if we don't have a 40 time yet.
I called him David Boston earlier. I meant Denzel Boston. So like those 4 names that I mentioned, along with Carnell Tate, and then the last 2 might be, I don't know, the top 7 wide receivers in this class. And they might be in crazy orders at the end of this. Like someone's 7th might be another person's 1st. Someone's 2nd might be another person's 6th, so on and so forth. So again, these are the next 5-6 weeks we get to debate this and discuss this. And that's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. Should we get into the absolute freaks?
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Jeff Caldwell out of Cincinnati. Cool 6'5", 216 pounds.
Jealous.
And then at that size, a 4.3 140, a 1.48 unofficial 10-yard split, and then a 42-inch vertical, an 11-foot 2-inch broad jump. Is there any way we can kind of encapsulate and put that in perspective?
Well, when I adjusted for his size, which is ginormous, 98th percentile in the 40-yard dash, and then the jumps are all 98th and 99th percentile. So this is like an all-time performance. We didn't get the agilities from him, but why would you if you can run that fast and jump that high at that speed? This is an all-time performance. This is like absolutely, to me, needs to be on the all-combine list. He was really, really buried in the consensus rankings. I know that you spent some time looking at his tape real quick, and there might be a reason for that, but when you put up these numbers, someone's going to throw a dart at you, whether it's special teams, role player, developmental. We'll get to the bottom of it when I go back and watch the tape. I'm just curious what you saw from him.
Yeah, I kind of want you to cover your ears and not let what I'm about to say be a bias for you in any way possible here. His movement is crazy, and that pops up with the athleticism. He sidestepped defenders that are trying to tackle him. They actually ran tunnel screens for him at that size, and he like flies by people on these vertical routes versus single high, and he has some cool acrobatic catches along the sideline that are one-handed. But I'll say it, despite being 6'5" and 216 pounds, he simply doesn't attack the football in the air. Like he loses a lot of one-on-one 50-50 situations that he kind of gets boxed out and framed out. And then his like timing to high point them he doesn't maximize his size, maximize his length on top of it. Maybe that changes, but I think back to some players kind of the size that have been athletic freaks in the past, like Combine Warriors and Miles Boykin in I think it's Bryce Ford Wheaton was another one too, out of West Virginia.
Oh yeah.
And they didn't amount to anything. But then you have someone kind of the size. It's like the DJ Charks, for example. That's like Chris Brazzell, who we can talk about here a little bit.
Yeah.
They're of the similar ilk. And man, it makes your mind wonder of if we can coach him up and if we can maximize this length, then we get like discount Calvin Johnson out of it. That's crazy.
I know. It is crazy. Who knows if he's going to be the next Chase Claypool or one of these trivia guys that you just mentioned. Just wild to me. He was a 0-star recruit. He went to a high school in Louisville. That's a big, I would like to recruit in Louisville. He was 6'5" as a high schooler, did not get recruited. That's like shocking to me.
Well, let's talk about Chris Brazzell too, out of Tennessee, 6'4", 198 pounds, 4.37 40 here. I know you have watched him. This is always a difficult offense to project out of with the Volunteers. What do you think?
Well, 4.37 at 6'4", 198. It's the same exact system. I know they made some tweaks here, and you guys can read about that from guys that really study it. But I'm seeing a lot of snaps where you're 1 inch away from the sideline, and then what do I see with Chris Brazzell? He's in the sideline because he just gets pushed out of bounds. So, like, you know, I fell for the Jalen Hyatt stuff. I thought Jalen Hyatt did more than Chris Brazzell did, and that has not mattered in the pros. You can DJ Chark, I think, was a fair comp that you threw out there. You know, like, not many people could run 4 threes at 6'4". So he's going to get drafted in the top 100. I think that he needs some development, and it's just a complete wild card coming from that Volunteers offense because the splits and the amount of routes that he had, it's all hitches and goes for him. And it's going to take a little bit of work.
I was a Cedric Tillman guy. I was not a Jalen Hyatt or Dante Thornton. I mean, there's a, I think, big difference there between those types. Tillman was really physical despite coming out of this offense and like worked over the middle and was more of a true X wide receiver. The other two were kind of those long burners. Is this one closer to one style? It's tough for me to tell. It's kind of in the middle. So he ripped up Georgia, which was a really fun watch. So yeah, excited to watch more Brazzell as we go along. Okay. Should we talk about little guys? I mean, I don't know if you've really gotten to watch. Let's throw out Deion Burks at 5'10", 180 pounds.
I have.
There's a few others. So throw one out there. We can discuss them.
Yeah, Deion Burks is more like the Marvin Mims, really small work down field type, can get some gadget stuff from him. I think that he's probably going to go in the 3rd round, somewhere in that range. I think Antonio Williams, the Clemson kid, slot wide receiver, I think he's got a chance to go maybe top 50, probably round 2-3 turn. He's 5'11", 187, so a little bit bigger than Burks. And he hit the 4.41 in the 40-yard dash. So the comps kind of spit out Marquise Lee, Randall Cobb. Also, you have your Roman Wilsons. It's kind of, or Roman Wilson. It's just kind of one of these hodgepodges of slot wide receivers. He did a lot of good things for that program. I thought that his tape was more steady than like Roman, for example. So I think that he's got some round 2 love.
I did watch a little bit of Brendan Thompson out of Mississippi State, 5'9", 164. Again, that 4.26 40. Actually, at Miss State, he was an outside wide receiver.
Yes, he was.
But Mississippi State, like Tennessee, and even maybe more so now, they frequently lined up their receivers on both sidelines, at the very least, outside the numbers. Huge spacing, big, deep routes, double moves, crossers, and comebacks. He had some big catches on top of that. But I'm not sure if like that's the role he's going to play in the league. It's an interesting projection here.
Well, with Brendan Thompson, I want to give him a lot of credit. So, like, I was expecting a huge day from him. I thought his tape, he was just facing a lot of like press man coverage and just winning over the top from the outside against SEC competition. Like that to me versus a lot of the guys in this archetype, you don't see. So, like, I'm leaving the light on for him a lot more than others. A lot of it's obviously when you can run that fast, it's a lot of Deshaun Jackson stuff, some crossers, but for the most part, go balls and hitches. And we can see if he's the next Deshaun Jackson or the next guy that does nothing with his career. I just wanted to give him a shout out because he was not a screen merchant like a lot of the 170-pound wide receivers. All of his production was straight up earned.
Yeah, that's very different than someone like Zachariah Branch, who we've talked about at length. Okay, I think it's only fitting that I left him for later on and to maybe be overlooked a little bit. Germie Bernard out of Alabama. Again, very fitting. 6'1", 206. Your standard for basically a starting wide receiver in the NFL or at the NFL Combine, 4.48, a 1.52. Then he had like a 32.5-inch vert, which is an 18th percentile. Then you go the opposite end, a 78th percentile broad jump here. Tell the people about Germie Bernard and why maybe this unheralded wide receiver, despite coming out of Alabama, should, get a bit more love.
So my younger brother went to Alabama, huge Alabama guy. So I was asking about which prospects am I going to love from the team. And he immediately said, Germie Bernard's like the man. So the Alabama guys love him. And then he's becoming a meme in the NFL analyst, draft analyst circle. Because whenever I tweet about him, I'm getting Nate Tice, I'm getting all the biggest NFL draft guys agreeing with me. He is somewhere between Romeo Dobbs and like there's a bunch of guys that kind of work over the middle. And he's really awesome at that. A lot of dig routes for him. And today, I thought did totally fine. 54th percentile weight adjusted 40 is completely on brand for him. Just over 200 pounds. That's right on brand for him. And then surprisingly, 3-cone at 87th percentile. I think that's like the big one for him, because you do see a lot of the in-breaking routes, and I do think he's a pretty functional route runner. So you can't be super excited about Germie Bernard, but he is a solid player, and I would be very surprised now if he's not like a top 50-ish pick. You're not going to get any top 32 love, but like 33 to 63, kind of in that range, you can sign me up for him.
Reliable. I mean, a 2.9% career drop rate. Yeah, I just wrote down, is he Romeo Dobbs? Just a backside dig machine, in breaker after in breaker, sits in zone coverage. You know where he's going to be. He's on a string with your quarterback. And that has value versus, again, a lot of the projections that we are talking about here. Is there anyone whose name popped up today, or you looked in the spreadsheets and saw their athletic testing, of prospects you have not watched yet that now you're most excited?
Well, okay, so there's two of them. Bryce Lance, Trey Lance's younger brother, went absolutely crazy. 4.34 at 6'3", 204 pounds, almost a 42-inch vert, 90th percentile broad jump. Dane Brugler tweeted out that he's like a top 100 player. Comes from North Dakota State, so you're going to have to make that size or that big jump into the pros, but very similar to Christian Watson. He's not quite as special as Christian Watson is, but he's not far off. So he's somebody that I want to get eyes on. And then the other one was Deshaun Stribling out of Old Miss. 6'2", 207, runs 4.36. So that's a 91st percentile straight line speed when you're adjusting for his weight. So that's just another somebody that went absolutely nuts. The other guys on round 2, round 3, I thought did well, but I had watched them before.
I'm excited to watch Ted Hurst, Georgia State.
Yes.
6'4", 206, 4.42. He actually led all the FBS in 20-plus yard target receptions with 27 over the last 2 seasons. He also jumped up to about like 18 forced missed tackles this year, which has been a big improvement for him. Out of what small sample I have seen, he also posts up in the low red zone to
he does
win 4-point plays, these touchdowns on top of it. So he's going to be the first person when I have some free time to go back and watch, because it's a smaller school, but this is like a big-bodied, big boy wide receiver.
I forget which team it was, but he played like a big boy school, and he had a pretty up and down day, but you saw the flashes, like where it's like, okay, like that looks like an NFL athlete. And of course, 97% on the broad jump at 6'4", 4.42 speed. You're going to write raw development, all those things in your notes, but truly a special athlete.
I know he's dealing with an injury. I also know you watched him prior to this. Before we move on, talk a little bit about Chris Bell out of Louisville.
Chris Bell was actually a little bit closer to, like, if you wanted to get crazy and do the Deebo Samuel stuff, just like the way he looks out there. He's not Deebo Samuel. He's super raw, but it's a lot of the similar routes, like a little like kind of shallow crossing routes, but also went up and made some fantastic plays. So he went absolutely crazy against Miami, which nobody does. He was like 9 for 136 and 2. And he looks like a truly special athlete to the point where if he didn't tear his ACL, based on the tape I had watched, he was easily a round 1 grade. I think I'll still have him inside my top 50 if we get some like good reports coming back from his torn ACL. But just freak athlete. You're going to love his 10 best plays are right up there with the best 10 plays from the other wide receivers.
We know all of you in the comments down below watch all of these college players and get ready for your draft prospects with your fantasy drafts. Let us know your favorites that we haven't mentioned yet, or if we have, make a list, your top 3 that you're just most excited about. Doesn't have to be the best, just ones that like maybe are your guys on top of it. Anyone else you want to discuss here at wide receiver before I quickly talk about quarterback?
Yeah, Jacoby Lane from USC, 6'4", 200 pounds. He actually had more touchdowns than Mekhi Lemon over the last 2 seasons. They could not be built more differently. He's an outside guy. I'll say it was a win for him. He had 76 percentile jumps, 48th percentile speed. I would count that as a win because there was a lot of concern that it's just like there's not enough speed for him to separate in the NFL. He definitely passed the bar. And if you go back and watch him, I wonder if he's just a more patient route runner that knows he can go up and catch the ball. And if there was just some times where he did not want to fully take off. So a lot of like big corner routes in the offense. So that's the type of stuff that he has. But I thought that was a good day. He also looked really good in the gauntlet drill and the drills. And then the other one, loser, Malachi Fields, Notre Dame vertical threat, runs a 4.61 in the 40. That's 6th percentile straight up, 29th percentile when you weight adjust it because he's a big guy. But that was a pretty disappointing performance. And he was one of these guys who's older and didn't have that much production early on. he needed to have a big day to kind of hold on to like round 2 love. And I do wonder if some of the other freaks that we've talked about kind of surpass him. So pretty disappointing day for Malachi Fields.
Okay, quick quarterback conversation here. First, this is the first measurements we have with number 1 overall pick Fernando Mendoza, just under 6'5", 236 pounds. He carries that weight extremely well.
Oh yeah. Did you see the picture that Brett Coleman posted of
With
Fernando
his forearms?
Mendoza? His forearm, my Lord, he's tied it on the forearms. I mean, it really is like not that far off from Josh Allen and Andrew Luck, and then Daniel Jeremiah.
The movement is very different than that,
of course, but like size wise, and then Daniel Jeremiah probably a closer comp. Matt Ryan is almost exactly 1 for 1 too, but it's just more like surprising. Like, all right, he's as big as Josh Allen. Like, I knew he was tall. I didn't realize that he was going to be 236. So that was pretty cool.
Okay, speaking of movement, and this is all about athletes here. Taylen Green out of Arkansas.
God.
Okay, 6'6", 227 pounds. This is a ludicrous athletic profile here. 4'3", 740, 152, 10-yard split, nearly 35-inch arms. Hayden, that is outrageous. Anthony Richardson previously had one of the jumps, and then Taylen Green goes out there and breaks the record by 3 inches on top of it. Now, he then refused to do wide receiver drills and is like, I'm a quarterback and I'm going to airmail these passes that I'm throwing. I think there's going to be a very interesting conversation he has with either the team that drafts him on day 3 or signs as an undrafted free agent if he wants like a long NFL career, because some team, and maybe some specific coaches I'll throw out here in a moment, will really want to work with these tools and pitch him on playing a different position.
Yeah, he's going to be my all combine quarterback. I'm pretending to not see what I saw after the drill, or once the drill started. Totally different there. How about a fit for you? If we get rid of Tyson Bagent and Ben Johnson wants to dial up some of the craziest trickery that you've ever seen, why don't you have him as like kind of like the quarterback weapon that comes in randomly?
I've got a lot of conversations like this. Okay. First, we have seen quarterback to wide receivers in the past. This is way before your time. You had Matt Jones as
I remember him.
An Arkansas quarterback who at this point declared he was a wide receiver and then went in the first round. And then let's just say his life got away from him.
Well, we're talking about the best combine performance by a white man ever, not even close.
Well, we just got, our safety, Dylan.
No, it's not even close. No, this
Oregon.
Matt Jones guy in my spreadsheets, I've never even seen the green colors that are popping up.
Okay. Then we look at the supplemental draft and we had Terrell Pryor, quarterback, then changed to wide receiver. And I think he could have had like a long career at wide receiver if he really, really wanted to focus on that first and foremost. At the same time, we've had a good number of quarterback to tight end changes on top of this too.
Yeah.
227 is a bit difficult. I also think 35-inch arms might be difficult too at the tight end position.
Yeah.
But maybe Sean Payton is like, look, I can do some new wave, even more athletic and maybe less powerful Taysom Hill stuff here. With Taylen Green. I don't think he's going to be Logan Thomas, who like really made the change halfway through his NFL career.
He's just so lengthy. Like he needs to like learn a 3-point shot is like what he actually needs to do. Like he's so long. And that's like when you watch him try to throw the ball, it's just like the mechanics are just, it's like impossible when your arms are like that long almost. Yeah, he's got an interesting decision. I like the commitment, say I'm a quarterback and see how that goes. But if somebody that's offering you $1 million says you're changing positions, I would also be like, I will take the $1 million and change positions. So I think somebody else is going to make that decision for him. We'll see.
Look, we also had Joe Webb, who was a quarterback third stringer who played special teams on top of special teams demon.
What's like the value of having a scout team quarterback that is actually like Jaden Daniels, like why not like do something like that? Is there any value?
Well,
is that
and then
the
it's like your best
pick?
punt gunner, and get down the field the fastest.
Sure.
Like that's again, Brad Smith, Joe Webb. There's been a lot of these guys. So keep your mind open here, Taylen Green. The other one might be more so of the Sean Payton Taysom Hill fit, and that's Haynes King out of Georgia Tech. Had a nice athletic profile here at 6'2", 2.5. Cannot throw the football versus worth a lick, but maybe he signs on and changes positions as well.
Yep, that's I haven't watched his tape yet, but I'm rooting for him as well.
Yep, don't do it. That's all I have. Any closing thoughts here on the wide receivers?
not the wide receivers, just spinning the football. I thought Ty Simpson and Nussmeier, I think, held the lines. Definitely Ty Simpson, the ball jumps out of his hand better than Nussmeier, and Nussmeier did get frame mogged by Fernando Mendoza, which was unfortunate. But what could you do? There was a report from Ian Rappaport saying that Ty Simpson got first-round grades from the when he was debating if he's going to go back to school or not, and that Rap Sheet still believes he's going round 1. So in my top 75 rankings that are going to come up in the next couple days, I'm somewhere in the 25 to 38 range for Ty Simpson. I'm going to try to go back and watch it.
25 number keeps creeping up a little bit for you.
Well, guys like Lee Hunter and stuff, guys that I fell in love with at one point. And then you're like, am I really doing the situational defensive tackle over a dart throw quarterback? It's like those type of things. I don't think he's quite to the Bo Nix and Jackson Dart level, but keep throwing darts.
Okay. So, we're sitting here on February 28th. Do you think there's any chance he gets to like number 19 overall for you?
In my rankings, I don't think so. I don't think so, but I can see it in the real NFL draft.
That does it for us. There's one more day of combine activities. It is the offensive lineman. If there's something notable, we'll jump on and do a video. Hopefully some 20-yard short shuttle stuff because, it's a pretty good barometer if someone's going to be good or not in the league, if they hit that 4.47 20-yard shuttle. But most importantly, we have a mock draft coming on Monday, and then we'll take a couple days off after working through the weekend here. Speaking of working through the weekend, we have a video up on the running backs. We have a video up on the tight ends and the freak safeties and defensive backs, and then also the pass rushers and linebackers. There's something for you to binge right after this one. And again, we've got all these prospect profiles over the next couple months coming out. Lock in here for draft coverage and especially free agency, which starts in just over a week. It's here. Man. Imagine being Mike McDonald. You win the Super Bowl 2 weeks ago. Yeah. You don't even have time to go on a vacation. You go to Indianapolis, and then a week later it's like, oh, I have the 5th most free agent money to spend, and I have some really important free agents to re-sign. And I just played a game 3 weeks ago.
I mean, I don't even know how they do it. He had the report where he hasn't seen his son in 5 months. He's not seeing him this month either. I will say this closing thought on the combine, just in case we don't do another video. The participation is down so low, and some of the guys, because the college football playoff is lasting a lot longer. I wonder if we need to, especially if we go to an 18th game in the regular season for the pros. I wonder if we just need to all right, give the combine. Let's do this in the middle of next month instead of February. And I wonder if this becomes free agency / the combine almost, where we run the stuff back and forth, because we know the agents and the GMs were already tampering with one another, and maybe the participation comes up a little bit. So they're gonna have to think about the NFL combine as participation comes down. I do wonder if the scheduling is just a little bit off right now.
Yeah, I think only about 45% of running backs participated, and then only one running back completed the 3-cone. And that's
the 3 cones, it's over. I mean, sad. I love the 3
At the same time, I will say, I think NFL Network, obviously it's lovely that they broadcast this. I think it's on them a little bit that the agilities go away, because the event is just 40s and drills. That is it. They don't show anything else. So why do anything else if you're not going to get on television for it?
Yeah, I think it's a fair point. I was tweeting the same thing. I would love to see the 3-cone. I would like to see the jumps, man. We always freak out over the jumps, and then we only just catch replays of it. I would be sweating the jumps if they would show that too. So maybe more participation if we kind of tinker with it all. But just one of those things. I still love it because we get the freakazoids. The freakazoids
Did they
will
totally
always
get rid of the bench press. I just realized after
I've seen the numbers, but I haven't seen a clip of it. I would like to see the bench press.
I think after maybe a torn pec or two, they're just like,
yeah,
no, we're not doing it anymore. All right.
And no, last question, Josh. Could you hit 135 on the bench? It's been a big thing on the internet. Yeah. Please, good. We can do this. I was making sure. I
weigh a lot more than 135. Let's put it that way.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people that are showing up to this are also in that category and can't lift it. It's I've seen some bad videos out there. We need to do better.
If you don't believe, I mean, hopefully you believe me.
No, I know you can. I know you can.
All right,
I've seen your
that
neck.
does it. Shout out to Moshe Weaves. Shout out to Hayden. Shout out to all of you for watching. Maybe we'll be back tomorrow. If not, we'll be back on Monday. Up the Villa. Talk to y'all soon. See you.